Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, big welcome. My name is Caitlin, and today we're going to be looking at the Pfaff Coverlock 3.0 and how to use it as a serger. This is actually my first time using it as a serger, so we're going to go over how to thread it, every single thread, where it needs to go, and the tension, what it needs to look like when it's forming that chain, and how to make sure it's going to make that chain. Machine videos seem to do really well on my channel, so I'm hoping this one does as well, and it brings a lot of help to anybody needing it. The manual is really good, but I am a visual learner and I really like seeing it done for real, so I'm hoping that it can reach people like me. So let's jump in. What you're going to need is your manual. You're also going to need this little plate A, the needle threader, and the needle screwdriver, as well as your presser foot and tweezers. Your machine actually comes with tweezers, really good tweezers. I have somehow lost mine. We're going to be following along on page 22 of the manual, the 4-thread overlock. We're just going to switch everything to those settings. So your ATD, we're going to turn to A, that controls your tension. Then we are going to replace the needles. We are going to be needing to use needle A and needle B. Very difficult to get a camera angle deep into there, but they are right here. So all you need to do is loosen the little set screws to remove needles if they're in a different spot, and then I do recommend tightening those screws back up so that they don't fall out and get lost. Ask me how I know. And then just reinsert them in A and B by loosening those set screws, inserting the needle, making sure the needle is pushed all the way up to the top, and then retightening. This does work a lot better if you remove the presser foot before doing this. Just makes it a lot easier. You can also use the end of the needle threader to help hold the needle. See, I'm removing the presser foot after. Now we're going to make sure our stitch length is set to 2.5, and then move over to our cutting width and make sure it's set to 6. This actually moves the knives. Then our differential we're going to set to 1. You can move these settings as you need. Now we need to move this N and R, and this is going to affect the loopers, and R is for cover stitching, N is for serging. So I'm going to move it to the N. You can see when I do that, it moves that metal piece, and that's going to determine which looper is in action. So again, leave it on the N. Now we're going to engage the blade. Again, hard to get a proper camera angle of this, but pull this screw out and then rotate it so the blade is going clockwise up to the top, and you will hear kind of a click into place. Now this little toggle here is going to engage the knives, and how to do that is it needs to go in that slot there. So rotate your hand wheel until it's lined up, and then just switch it to the front. And now you'll see that the loopers and the knives and everything are engaged when we turn our hand wheel. Time to thread. So we're going to be using blue, green, red, and yellow, and those correspond to left needle, right needle, upper looper, lower looper. And we're going to be starting with the red thread. I have coordinated the colors of the thread as well. And inside the door of the front panel is a good guide there. We're doing A3. So take your red thread and put it up through the thread guide and then through this kind of strange contraption. It's not going through the hole, it's going to click under the hook, and then the right side of that little tiny little kind of like a tension disc thing. And this is going to be the same for all 4 of these threads, so you can go ahead and do that now, making sure that they are all going under the handle. I do have a video on this machine outlining all of the pieces and parts and kind of what I like about it and what I don't like about it. I also have a video comparing what a cover stitch machine is compared to a serger. So I will link both of those videos below if anyone has not seen those and you're interested. It also talks about this handle and why it's so frustrating. So once you have your threads coming down there, now they go through the tension discs. And it's good if you have your presser foot up. And then in terms of the red, we're just following these little red dots and the description in the manual. And there's also diagrams on the inside of the machine. So follow the red dots through the guides, making sure you're getting everywhere that you need to be getting. And then it's going to go up to the upper looper. You want to make sure you thread the upper looper first, and this is important for forming that chain. If you do not have your loopers thread properly, your chain will not form. So here's an overview of where we went with that red thread. Now we're going to bring the yellow thread down, again just following the trail, making it go where it needs to. This one's kind of different. It goes in the slot and then out the front horizontally. Then we're going to go down to this hook, and the next hook actually shares with the red thread, which is a bit unique. And then it continues on. Now, to thread the lower looper, there is a special little hook threader, and it's really hard to see here, but I'm going to point to it with the tweezers. It's down behind here, and we're going to wrap the thread back there, and when you pull the lever, it's going to pull the thread to the back and hook it around a hook at the back of the lower looper. So you can see I'm bringing the thread through there. It doesn't really hook on anything, it just kind of sits there, and then I'm going to pull that lever and it brings it to the back of the looper. Then I can go ahead and thread the looper. You could thread the looper before. Either order is fine, as long as it gets onto that back hook. Crucial for forming the thread chain. Now we can do our needles. So the right needle green, we're going to bring here into that innermost hook, down this frown, and down into this upper thread guide, and to the right side of that. Now this next one is so hard to get a camera angle of. I tried a couple different ways, but ultimately you want to make sure that you are into the right side of that thread guide. So it's kind of a slot, and then you have to maneuver around the different bumps of the guides. And then the final guide is an easy little slide in situation. Now the needle threader. Just figured this out. It's got a little rectangle on it. You want to make sure the rectangle is in the up or down position, and then bring your thread to the side, slide that gently down the needle, and if you push some slight pressure on it, you'll find the needle eye very easily. Push the needle threader, and it will engage this little metal piece to push your thread to the back. Go ahead and pull that through, and then you can go ahead and thread your blue thread or your left needle in the very similar manner as the green thread, making sure that you're using a different thread guide than the green thread. And once you have that needle threaded, you're ready to finish the last of the steps. And I just wanted to give one more overview of what's going on inside the machine here. I know that yellow is hard to see, but hopefully you can pause it if you need to. Now we need to remove this different table. So it's just a little clip there, put some slight pressure on there, and then insert the A table. Now we can see if it chains, and it does. You may have noticed we are missing our presser foot. This is the one that comes with the machine. It should already be on your machine if you bought it brand new. All you have to do is maneuver it in there with the presser foot up, and then you're going to bring the lever and the housing down to click on to our presser foot itself. Make sure it's nice and steady on there. Now I'm just taking a piece of jersey fabric. It's 2 layers. I am putting it under my presser foot and pressing the pedal to go. This is how we can check our tension. And I think it is very important to do this before you start a project. So now if we take a look, we're going to notice that something is wrong. And even if you don't know what it's supposed to look like, I think you know that this is not supposed to look like this. you can tell that something is just loose. One of my loopers is loose. You can see the blue thread, the green thread over the needles, and then the loopers just don't seem right. So I'm taking a look at my tension discs here, and boom, yellow is not in the tension discs. So I'm just going to bring some pressure on that top and bottom to slide it into the tension disc. Try again, and much nicer. You can see when we compare it to the other side of the fabric, it does look a lot neater. I am finding though that the red thread could be brought back a little bit so that it's aligned right on the top edge or the edge of the fabric. So I'm just going to adjust the tension slightly to see if that helps. Now to do that, you just push these little levers up or down, and you can use your ATD knob on the side to reset if you ever bump something or put something out of place. So we are just bumping up the red just a tiny bit, and now we're going to try cutting. So you see the knives, that's where they shear. I'm just going to cut off that first version of our serging, make sure the blades are working properly, and all of that. It's cutting so smooth because this is the first time it has ever been used. Now you can see your blue needle thread, your green needle thread, and then the red loopers, and then the yellow looper will be on the back, and they align neatly on the edge there. Could maybe even bump it up a teeny tiny bit more, but it's pretty perfect. You want everything to be nice and taut, but not tight, definitely not loose, just so that it looks nice and neat. Can't catch anything or pull anything out. And I also wanted to mention that the presser foot can be put into fast mode. Here is how that looks. It bounces my table quite a bit, and I did find the stitches weren't as nice. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy sewing machine videos, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so I can see you in the next video. Thanks again. Bye.